So we've got a special treat for you tonight, because I managed to, in Janine's ridiculously busy schedule, just grab the expert for something that has come up today that is relevant to everyone. So we're just going to do a really quick video today on the film 355 that loads of people are talking about, and lots of controversy around it. And it's interesting, Janine, because obviously we've had 3 big films released over the last week or so. We've had The Matrix 4, can't remember what the full name of it is. We've had Don't Look Up over the last couple of weeks. And now tomorrow they're releasing 355. And what struck me as quite odd, well, I think, you know, I've had quite a lot of emails about it, but also the fact that people in this community seem to be focusing very much on the 355 more than the other two, which, so there's lots of things that sort of mean that it will be worth us having a look at this one with your amazing cards. So can we start off by asking, the film 355, is it now currently being put out by the white hats or the dark hats? I don't even like saying this coloured word, hats, just in case it triggers anything.
Isn't that strange? Okay, so it was definitely put out to relay a message. That's what I think. It was put out to relay a message, and it doesn't even, I mean, it's weird. It doesn't feel like it's technically dark hats or white hats, because this is the card in the past. So somebody could have had an agenda, because there's 2 aces around it. So there's an agenda around the film. But the agenda is coming from not necessarily, it's at least my cards aren't naming it's this group or that, but the agenda that it's coming from is not necessarily for the good of humans.
Right.
Okay, so I mean, this could even be an independent person with an independent agenda, but not necessarily for the good of humans. But they may not consider themselves literally in the club or part of the dark cult or whatever. Isn't that interesting? I mean, there's lots of evil in the world, and there's also lots of good. So that, like, and it's saying surrender to, because my question was, you know, is some of the things they're saying about it true? So there's truth in it for sure. We got 2 yeses, and it's not coming from necessarily good.
Yeah.
But whoever put it out, and I'm not saying that, because this card can be amazing, by the way. So if you're a card reader and you're like, why is she saying the Queen of Cups isn't good? She is good, but not when she's surrounded by, well, this card was right under it, and this card was right next to it. Okay, so it gives me reason to believe that this is not a well-aspected Queen of Cups. And when she's not well-aspected, she's very focused on her own agenda, and it's coming from, maybe she focuses too much on the past or has an emotional reason why she's doing what she's doing, but is very self-centered if she's badly aspected, and sometimes even like psychologically twisted. Right. So it put out by somebody who didn't have good intentions. And then this card's in the middle. So there's a lot of stress around it. So it could actually create stress. Okay. I don't think it actually does as much damage as they're saying, though, because the outcome, whoops, was that one, which is the Empress. So I don't think it's going to have this card says a lot of the things they're saying about it. It could create stress, but then I think it quickly alleviates, because this card came below it, and this is now you're really comfortable. So you go from being, so while you're in the film itself, I don't think it's good for you to, that's weird. Okay, so that what, maybe they had a more demonic plan for it, but it didn't really take it. It's not going to take you to what they're saying, because I know what you were telling me before we started this was that it could create a frequency in you. I think it could bum you out, be a downer, or somehow energetically create stress. But I get you could soon recuperate from it. So it doesn't look like it's like a dark hat plan where you're like, now you're coming out of there.
Can we ask? That's really fascinating. So the reason we did this film tonight is because there's been lots of controversy around this film. And there have been some rumors, and they, you know, are just rumors at this stage, that the frequencies of the film are very dark, and that therefore will effectively undermine the awakening movement. So could we ask the cards whether people who have been working on themselves to raise their vibration, raise their frequency, whether they would be they're probably protected for this, but for the general members of the public that probably wouldn't be watching this video, could it be detrimental when they watch it?
Well, it seems to affect people in really unique ways. So everybody's different, right? And the people you were talking about, so people like truthers and people that work on themselves. I'm not saying all truthers work on themselves, because they don't all, you know what I mean? But people that spiritually have worked on themselves and are on a higher vibration, they may have protection, because this card's kind of a protected card. They have insulation maybe from it. I don't really see them doing so badly.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Other people might feel the stress more.
Okay.
Why don't we ask why they put that energy into it?
Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
What was that all about? What were they trying to achieve?
Yeah.
And I wonder who created the film. I wonder if it goes back to, you know, the creators. Obviously, it's implanted in there somewhere, right?
Absolutely.
Like, did they set off to do that, is what I'm wondering. Interesting. I almost think their own energy affected it. I almost think it wasn't necessarily the intention of the people, because this card's a little detached, and people noticed in retrospect that it had this effect.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why the rumor got out that actually you can feel really upset after you see this or whatever. I'd love to hear from somebody if somebody actually saw it and what did they think. Okay, so I'm feeling like the person was overwhelmed in their own energy, and maybe the person even in charge of the music or something, and spilled it into this. I feel like they could be a powerful energy mover emotionally, especially if maybe they're somebody who created the music for this, maybe. Yeah, because you're saying that the frequency or the sound, the people working on the sound, I mean, it seems crazy, but it doesn't feel like they set out to do it. It feels like it got in there because their energy wasn't integral and spilled into it and or wasn't healed.
Yeah. Okay. So rather than being some big plan to sort of launch this on the world and have an effect, it's more of a you know, the individuals that were involved that have brought their own individual.
That's what I'm getting anyway. And what's weird is I think people are so hyper aware, and we have so many awake and alive people that are actually paying attention and listening to their intuition, that we're now spotting these things. I'm sure there's lots of movies. I've been to lots of movies and watched lots of shows that I had to shut off. The frequency was bumming me out, like to big time. And I've watched things that show me horrific things, and I don't get feeling like that. I can take bad news, trust me. And if it's real, and I just check in with myself, is this something I need to hear about and learn? Or is this literally just taking my energy and bombing it? You know what I mean? Like tanking it. Okay. And I feel like we're now so heightened and aware and awake that we're noticing things and we're very sensitive to it. And this is a good thing.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with that, because, you know, and people at the moment, particularly because there was so much expectation about the beginning of 2022, that the nature. So can we ask about, is it significant that the timing of its release?
Okay. That one looks like it was held up and they just put it out as soon as they could. I think they wanted it before Christmas.
Right.
But it got held up at least 5 weeks, I'm thinking, with those 2 5s. And so they got it out there as fast as they could. Yeah, they're moving out of troubled water. I think they literally wanted it just before Christmas. And you know why they put those things out just before Christmas, right? Because all of the award, they're going to consider it for the 2022 awards.
Yeah.
Based on 2021 movies. So you have to have it out before Christmas. Maybe they were rushing because that card wants to rush things. So does this card.
Wow.
I wonder if it got held up, and they're actually disappointed it came out right at the beginning of 2022. So it's been, it's
messed up their plans then.
Yeah, you know what we should ask? Something about why was it the only movie left in the theaters those several hours when we thought Mr. T was speaking on the 6th today, right? Isn't it the 6th today?
Yeah, 6th today. Yeah.
Right. So we thought he was speaking. And then from the 7th on, in some places, even on the 6th, theaters were closed. But this was only for several hours. And now they've been, apparently they were told, a lot of people contacted their theater managers and et cetera in their towns. So people were getting the word all over the world. Actually, I was getting emails from all over the world that theaters were closing between or not showing any movies or not announcing movies at these certain dates. And they were starting around the 6th or the 7th, and some of them going to the 15th, some of them just not talking about movies after the 7th. So there's all these weird things going on. And then some people contacted theaters and they got the word, and some people know theater managers. I mean, Cachet's, my son's dad was a manager of movie theaters for years. So I was even thinking of phoning one of his old buddies that still works in the theaters, right? But I never got around to it. And then the whole thing switched. Okay, we heard that Mr. T wasn't going to speak. And then, miraculously, all the theaters freed up and the movies all came back.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's weird. And the only movie that was consistently still left up there was 355. And a lot of people are attributing that to certain posts by a certain secretive group. So the 355, you know what I mean? And then other people were attributing it to, there's some Bible things that align with 355. There's all kinds of, and all of them made sense when you looked them up. All of them made sense. So it was maybe a calm of some kind, but it wasn't about the movie at all.
Yeah.
But let's ask the cards, what was up with that, leaving that movie up there when other ones weren't? A lot of places only were showing that movie in all their theaters, 13, 14 theaters, and that's the only movie you can see. That was just
imply, which would imply that is something to do with Mr. T's team.
Right, that's just weird. Yeah. And so what the theater managers were saying, okay, and I got this from not just one, but 4 different people emailing me. And 2 of them were people that continually email me. So I trust those 2. I don't know the other 2. I didn't know them. But they had talked, all of these people, because I get a lot of emails, you guys. And I try to read them all, but I mean, I don't always get around to it. But a lot of people had talked to these theater managers or whatever, and they got the same message. We were told by the state if it was in the US and or, so somebody officialdom, let's call it officialdom, but more municipal officialdom. So it wasn't like from the government of like the country, it was more municipal. So they were told that they had to make the theaters available, but they weren't told for what. And they were told that details would come later, but they, in no, in uncertain terms, they had to, they were told to do that in an official way by municipal governments.
Wow.
Weird. Okay, so that's just weird. Okay, there's so many weird things going on right now.
I
It's just
checked
like
our local ones here, and our local ones here didn't have a shutdown. They were showing other films in that time period.
ours too. Ours too.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's have a look. So we're asking why that certain film had it, why was that somehow in there? Okay, now. Interesting.
Ooh.
Okay, so now we got the devil and so that looks like how they managed to keep that film in there had something to do with the bad guys, not the good guys. Okay, so that was a bad guy plan. 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of cups, so walked away from. Okay, now I'm getting it as a message to the bad guys. So that was a message to the bad guys, and they were going to give a message. So the film being left up there wasn't about us. It was about a message, it looks like, to the bad guys, but it was from the good guys, okay? Sorry, because here's where it comes from. So it came from, so there's definitely a good guy card. If you got a good guy, and then I backed it up with this card. This is my good army card. Okay, my good military. Okay, so so they were leaving that film in there with the numbers. And so that now I'm going to say that might go back to those drops. We're just going to say those posts that were on the back channels giving us info some time ago. Okay, so that was they were sending a message to these guys. And it had nothing to do with regular folks. So that wasn't about us. That was for these other bad guys. So they're sending each other messages with these weird things in the media, and we're getting caught in the crossfires going, what the heck?
Yeah, what's going on? And then everyone's getting all, sort of looking all different scenarios into it.
Yeah.
Like we said all the way along, whether it's, if you're watching something and you're a viewer, not every message is for you.
Yeah, that's true. And I get what he was really going to use those theaters for was announce something about freedom. And this is a financial independence card too. And I did get that on with Jean-Claude. I got the same message in a different way, that it basically looked like they were going to be announcing something to do with monies, maybe coming back our way from what was taken from us somehow, which could be a version of Nasara. Our version of a new money system. Something's going on.
Definitely something.
All of the above.
Big time. So could we just ask one final question? So we've had 3 big films. We've had The Matrix, Don't Look Up, and 355. Were they all meant to be coming out at the same time? Was this going to be, because we talk about when we watch the real movie back at some stage. So what I'm getting at to ask the cards is it important that those 3 movies are all coming out at around the same time?
Yep, you bet. So it was a secret plan. And I even get the fact that the 355 one was held up was purpose, and it wasn't the work of who put the movie out. They were disappointed, but it was purposely held up because they were using it as a comm.
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, there was secret operation in the background for putting those out. You know it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go, everyone. Everything you could want to know and more about 355. So I suppose the overriding message is use your discernment, tune in to yourself to see whether it's going to be in your highest interest to actually watch it or not.
Yeah, I feel like you'll come out okay, especially if you go in with awareness and just use good personal protection, like maybe smudge before and after, and or salt bath after if you don't have smudge. Sea salt, everybody can usually get their hands on some sea salt, and or wear a tourmaline, bring a piece of tourmaline with you, black tourmaline. That's good at taking negativity, because I don't get whatever the amount, it's definitely doable. You can work with it. But if you weren't aware of it, I'm sure there's lots of movies out there that dud your energy, we'll just say it like that.
Yeah.
Okay, and or plummeted or whatever, and this is one of them, and that's what I was getting. But I don't think it was a basically demonic plan to do harm to you. But people are picking up on it, and that just shows you how wise, intelligent, and incredibly intuitive we're becoming. And they're, yeah, good for them.
It really does. It's really, really good. Oh, thank you so much. I think that's really, really interesting. I think it comes out tomorrow, certainly in the States. I don't know about elsewhere. So we look forward to hearing your feedback if any of you are the type that do feel that it resonates with you to go and watch it.
Right
Thank
on.
you, Janine. That was really useful. Thank you so much for jumping on for that quick one. And we'll see what the feedback is from the movie.
Okay.
Have a lovely evening.
Yeah,
Take care. Bye.